What's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to install NVMe M.2 SSD into your motherboard. I have purchased this on Amazon. This is a Samsung 970 Evo Plus NVMe SSD. It's 500 gigs and I'm not going to dive deep into the technical details here. But there are different types of SSDs available in the current market with different form factors, architecture. So do your research before you purchase one. And make sure to check your motherboard specifications before you purchase, because your motherboard may not support some SSDs and devil is in the details. Okay, so let me open the side panel here. This one here is a 3 years old build which I did back in 2017. So it has basically GTX 1060, 6 gigs, 16 gigabytes of RAM and i7-6700K. Yeah, good old days for Intel, right? Now it's a different story. So I'm going to use it for another 1 or 2 years, then I'm going to move on to a new build. Alright, this is the slot for our new member. This motherboard is Asus ROG series Maximus Ranger 8 with Z170 chipset. It's a pretty decent board, even today's standards also. Basically it supports 4 different sizes of SSDs. You can see here 22110, 2280, 2260 and 2242. My SSD is basically 2280. That means that the dimension of it is 22 millimeters into 80 millimeters. So make sure you check your motherboard specification and the slots available for your SSD before purchasing one. This is the screw for the motherboard slot, the SSD slot. This is the mount, base mount, and this is the screw which will keep the SSD in place. Now, lot of people might ask me that why I have purchased 970 Evo instead of 980, which is the current and latest model in the market. Well, to be honest, I did some research and 980 does have some improvements with some trade-offs also. So if you want to compare these two, I have kept a link below in the description. Make sure to check it out. And why I have purchased 970, just because it fits my daily requirement of gaming, video editing, image editing. So before you purchase one, make sure you compare these two and other brands as well. I'm not promoting Samsung here. Enough talking, let's get to work. So first, before you install your SSD, you have to mount your mounting screw. So I'll be putting this screw inside the 2280 slot. Alright, it's in place. So next, grab your SSD by the edges. Don't grab it in the middle, just to prevent the static damage, okay? And then slowly slide it in the slot. That's it. Take a magnetic screwdriver, push it gently down and put the screw in the place. And we're done. Cool. So now I'm going to boot up my system and show you how to do the operating system migration from my hard disk C drive to this SSD, because I don't want to reinstall my Windows and other stuffs. So we are going to clone everything from my C drive to this SSD, and this SSD will act as a new C drive. Okay, let's go.
I am using Macrium Reflect 7, which is a free software you can use to migrate or clone your data. Just Google it out and then you can install it. Let me quickly show you how to do that. So this is the Macrium software download link. You can click on this home use and it will be downloaded. Make sure to use your email ID to get the registration code and use that registration code to register your software. So this is how it looks. So couple of points before you migrate your data. First, your SSD capacity should be larger than the current data volume in your source drive, which is the C drive in our case. In my case, you can see I have 130 gigs of data in my C drive and my SSD capacity is 500 GB. So it will do fine. Second, make sure you clean up all your unnecessary data from your source drive and then do a check disk operation and finally defragment the disk. Okay, so let me just do a disk cleanup. You can use some third-party software like CCleaner to clean up your disk. Doing all these things will make sure the data migration happens without any errors. Okay, so next thing you have to do is go to command prompt, type cmd. Better to open it in admin mode. Right click on here, run as administrator, click on yes, and then type the command chkdsk. So it's inside currently in the C drive, and inside the C drive you have to run the check disk command, which will check the whole disk for the errors. I'll quickly fast forward it. So as you can see, I don't have any errors in my disk. So I'm not going to run the command again with the fix mode, which is the chkdsk/f. If you run this command with this mode, and if you have any errors, you should run this command in this mode, which will fix any errors encountered in the disk. Okay, so let's not do that in my system. I'll close it up. So next, the third point I wanted to tell you, since I have already done the defragment, I'm not going to do that. And the third point is, make sure you close your internet connection or any Bluetooth connection or any wireless connections. So better to keep your system in flight mode. So I'll just put it in airplane mode. And make sure you don't have any running application, unwanted running applications like any updaters or any games running in the background, those stuffs. Okay, so I'm going to close all of them now. Just check on the task manager here. Alright, I'll close the notepad. Basically, you don't want to do anything on the C drive in this current moment. Alright, yep, we're good. Here you can see the 5 partitions for my operating system and 2 of the partitions for my personal data. So basically this is what my existing hard disk is about, and we have to copy all these 5 partitions to my SSD. So click on this clone this disk, and it will open up this wizard which will help you through the steps of the cloning process. Now click on this selected disk to clone to and select your SSD. Now drag and drop every partition one by one. Okay, don't miss out any of the partitions, because if you miss out any of them, then in future you might encounter some system errors or some difficulty in running the operating system. Okay, so don't miss out any of them. Now click on the largest one, which is the actual one where you have the operating system and everything, and click on this clone partition properties. What we can do here is we are going to deallocate some of the space. It is recommended to approximately deallocate almost 10 to 20% of the total hard disk space, SSD space basically. I am going to keep it as slightly more than 10%, that is 55 or 56 you can say, yeah. So it will basically increase your lifespan of the SSD. Now click on OK. So you can see here the partition has been created. Click next. This is the scheduler. We are not doing any scheduling here because we are going to clone it right now. So if you want to plan it for some other time, then you can schedule it here. So I'm going to ignore it as of now. Click on next. And this is the last step before the cloning process begins. So this is the summary. It will tell you that what are the operations is going to do, what are the partitions is going to copy, and all other stuffs. Okay. So once I click on finish, it will start the cloning process. Before clicking on finish, I'm going to turn off all the operations in my system, like turn off the internet, turn off the recording of the screen. I don't want any operations going on apart from this cloning. Okay, so it will make sure that the cloning happens smoothly. I'll click on the finish, I'll stop recording, and let's meet after the cloning has been completed. So it will take around 5 hours or 2 hours, so depending on the size of the disk and the speed of your hard disk. So as you can see, the cloning has been completed. It took almost 2.5 hours. Let's click OK. Close this window. let's check here in my computer. You can see this is the new drive, this is my SSD, and everything from my C drive has been copied here exactly as it is. So this is my existing C drive and this is the new one. You can check the logs in here. Now the last thing we want to do is we have to change the boot priority from BIOS settings of your motherboard. While booting up your system, you can enter BIOS mode by pressing the delete button or the F2 button. It depends upon your motherboard model, of course, and make your SSD as a first boot priority so that the operating system can boot from the new drive. So I'm going to restart my PC and enter the BIOS setting and change the boot priority now. Let's go.
Alright guys, so this is my boot interface, and you can see pretty much everything is here in this is my Asus motherboard boot menu. In the right hand side you can see the boot priority over here. So it's currently the Windows Boot Manager P1, which is my hard disk, and here we have the Samsung SSD. Let's switch to the advanced mode and go to the boot in the top, scroll down a bit. Here you can see there are boot options. So this is the number 1 priority, number 2, 3, 4 and so on. So in the drop down I'm going to select my SSD. Okay, so this is the only change I'm going to do here, and then I'm going to exit, save and exit. And now the Windows will boot from my SSD. So there's a huge time difference now from booting from the existing hard disk and booting from the SSD. So that's it everyone. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you feel something to be commented out, please comment it out in the comment box below, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot everyone.